Man,
Spence don't deserve that
Team
title.
Bud Crawford finally admits that Errol Spence wants to fight just as much as they do, and it don't have nothing to do with Errol Spence that's holding up the fight. Before we get into this next video, make sure that y'all hit my like button and sub to the channel if you're not already subscribed to the channel. So recently, with the unfortunate news that we got that Terence Crawford and Errol Spence will not be going down in November, and it's a big hold up on the fight. They still working on the fight behind the scenes, maybe to get it done by January, but for right now, we off. It ain't going down. So a lot of people are putting the blame on Errol Spence. You got people that's putting the blame on Terence Crawford. Then you got people that's putting the blame on Errol Spence. And one of the main people that was putting the blame on Errol Spence was Team Bud Crawford. We've seen Letitia Crawford put the blame on Errol Spence to say that he's scared and run with that whole narrative. And for those who don't know who that is, that's Terence Crawford's sister. And throughout the whole negotiations and throughout the years, you've heard Team Bud Crawford put all of the blame on Errol Spence. Say that he's scared, he don't want to fight, he's telling his team not to make the fight behind the scenes, he's bluffing for the fans. I mean, you've heard some of everything that you can think of to put the blame on Errol Spence. Recently, it looks like that they finally coming out and they finally keeping it 100 and telling the truth, y'all. Now, for those who don't know, the fight got called off, and a few of the main reasons why they're saying that the fight got called off, right? The reports that's coming out is because Terence Crawford wants to see the books. He want to see Al Haymon books. Basically, he want to see where all the money is coming from. He want to see who's all putting money into this fight, and he want them to open up the books, right? If he's going into this fight to get in the ring with Errol Spence, he want to know everything. He want to know where all the bread coming from A to Z. He want to know where it's all coming from. And y'all know Al Haymon ain't trying to open up his books for no Terence Crawford and show him this is where the money coming from. We got the investor over here putting the money. We got this, and this is why I'm getting over here. He ain't trying to do all that. He don't do that with none of his fighters. You know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford, he can't come over to somebody else's company and demand stuff like that. That's just not how they do business. And they looking at it like the only thing you need to know is what we gonna pay you, what we giving you. Other than that, we don't need to tell you where nothing coming from. Do you accept it or not? And so that's just what it is, you know. You can't come over to somebody else's company and say, hey, I need y'all to open up the books and show me where everything is coming from, or I'm not gonna take the fight. So that seems like one of the major holdups why this fight couldn't take place in November. With several other things, you know, they're not gonna tell you everything, but that's just one of the things. Now, all of the blame is being put on Errol Spence. Like I said, they still running with the narrative that he's scared, he don't want to fight Terence Crawford, he's bluffing and all of that, right? And Bernie the boxer, he's been at the forefront of all of that talk. You know, Bernie the boxer, before in the past, he's been the main one saying that the boy don't want it, he don't want to fight. You know, he been saying that Errol Spence don't want to fight. Errol Spence is scared. You know, the man been running for 5 years. Him and Bomac, right? Bernie and Bomac, they been the main ones. And of course, all the fans, you know what I'm saying? You know how the fans gonna rock. But Bernie and Bomac of Team Crawford, they been the main ones. Now they got Letitia Crawford. She done joined in, and she's saying that he's scared and he don't want to fight. Recently, Bernie the boxer has had a change of hearts. He coming and he keeping it real. He's saying that, you know what, Errol Spence, he actually do want to fight. I believe he want to fight. And he kind of checked the fan, right? He kind of checked one of the fans that was on his channel that tried to come in and continue to run with that narrative. And the dude that put the comment in the chat, right? He thought he was gonna get in there and say some shit that Bernie wanted to hear, and then Bernie was gonna help him get off with that, right? But Bernie, He checked him on that shit. He, you know what I'm saying? Bernie corrected him real fast and he said, nah, you know, Errol Spence do want to fight. I believe that Errol Spence wants to fight. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play y'all what Bernie exactly said, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna cook on it.
Okay, last of Don Bree says, Bernie, it's safe to say Spence a duck. I do. No, like I say, Spence don't deserve that title. I truly believe this man wants this fight, man. You know, just like everybody else, you know, he wants this fight. But again, when you buck the system or it seems like you're a troublemaker, it could be that, you know, you going all the way from Top Rank. You know, this is what they not understand. They not putting the context of this. And like I say, you know, the kid don't need you to feel sorry for him, but at least have some empathy. Put yourself in a situation like that. Put yourself in a situation like that. I mean, goodness. I mean, just literally put yourself in a situation like that. None of these guys never really put themselves in a situation like that. That's the craziest part about it, you know. And like I say, of course he's rich. Of course he's, you know, accomplished and everything like that. But listen, look at the situation that we're in. I can't get a fight to save my life. What in the world is that? I know I'm a bad man, but God, ain't nobody kicking down the door.
Now, shout out to Bernie for finally keeping it real. You heard him check the fan and tell the fan, nah, Spence ain't no duck. He don't deserve to be called a duck, right? Y'all need to stop calling him that because we believe that he truly wants to fight. The man wants to fight. And you also heard Bernie admit it's due to a lot of other things. And he brought up because Terence Crawford is bucking the system. Y'all know how Terence Crawford went and sued Bob Arum, and he's admitting, look, don't nobody really want to work with him. Ain't nobody jumping up to work with him. Ain't none of these fighters jumping up to fight him. But we know why that is because these promoters don't want to work with him. And I've been telling y'all that. You heard Eddie Hearn come out and said, nah, we don't want to do no business with him. He sued Bob Arum. And now the only ones that's giving him a chance is PBC because of Errol Spence. PBC wouldn't even work with him if it wasn't because of Errol Spence. Errol Spence is the one that was pushing for the fight behind the scenes to Al Heyman and to his team trying to make the fight happen. And Bernie and them, they know that. And see, my thing is the whole time they've been knowing that, but they wanted to run with a narrative and try to smear Errol Spence's name, knowing that the only way that they even start talking about making this fight happen is Errol Spence going to his team and telling them that's the fight that he wants to make happen. So I don't understand how a lot of y'all ignorant ass just dummies keep talking about that Errol Spence is scared and he ducking and he don't want to fight. Like, have you ever asked yourself, well, if Errol Spence didn't want to fight, would we even be talking about the fight happening? Would Steven Espinosa and Al Heyman and everybody even be working on a number for Terence Crawford to make the fight happen? Have you ever asked yourself that? Like, y'all just have to use common sense. You know what I'm talking about? And so, like I said, shout out to Bernie for finally coming out and keeping it 100 and telling his people what he's been knowing, right? That Errol Spence wants to fight. And this fight wouldn't even be talked about if it wasn't for Errol Spence. But yeah, you know, Terence Crawford got a lot of things riding against him. You know what I'm saying? You heard Bernie just say once again that it could be because he bucked the system. He went against the promoters. He tried to sue a promoter. But you know, Al Heyman ain't worried about none of that, what went on. But you do have Bob Arum coming out, you know, telling all the promoters that Terence Crawford was working with MTK Global. He was working hand in hand with Daniel Kinahan. So that was a downfall to Terence Crawford. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't want to touch that situation. A lot of people don't want to fuck with him because they're afraid that he might still have ties with Daniel Kinahan, or he might have got some money from Daniel Kinahan. All that stuff ain't none of my business. I'm not really concerned about it. But when people doing business for this amount of money, they want to know all of that. Hopefully they do get everything situated because the fans want to see this fight. We all want to see this fight. But stop putting the blame on Errol Spence when it don't even make sense, right? It couldn't be on him. You feel me? And I'm not saying that all of the blame should be on Terence Crawford, but Terence Crawford know good and damn well that they not finna open up their books and show him where all the money coming from. You dig what I'm saying? And whatever other holdups there is, everything is speculation. You know what I'm saying? All I know is that I just want to hear that the fight is going to be on and we going to have this fight later on down the road. And they ain't have enough time to promote the fight like it should have been promoted anyway. Y'all finally here. Bernie the Boxer, Team Crawford, come out and admit that Errol Spence really wants to fight. And people need to stop calling him a duck because that ain't the case. Let me know what y'all think. Drop a comment in the comment section, and y'all already know how I do. There you go, talking that boxing again. And hit my like button.